show. With Irish show. With Irish show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're coming out of the bye, folks, and things are weird. Things are just a little weird with the landscape and the news cycles, and there's a lot going on in college football this week. And oh, by the way, Notre Dame plays a game too. So this is even coming out of the bye. There's just weird things going on, diverting our attention away from Biatch, Pat Narduzzi. We got to get focused. We got to get refocused because I'm feeling kind of weird about it. Edition of the Always Irish Morning Show. Oh, there's a lot going on, and a lot of it just makes me laugh. I like seeing other college football teams that I hate going through a stressful time. It warms Johnny's Notre Dame soul. It literally nourishes my soul to see these other teams and fan bases all stressed out and making up reasons for why they're doing what they're doing. Everything. I love it. And when it's Michigan and USC that are both having problems, I love it double. I don't care. That is petty. That is immature. I have an axe to grind. I am biased. Yes, and yes. And I don't give a shit. How about that for your morning? You think it's going to affect me when you go, oh, John, you're being hard on Michigan because you don't like them and you're biased? You're damn right. Duh. What are you, new here? Duh. But that doesn't mean that the stuff I'm making fun of Michigan and USC for isn't real. Both can be true at the same time. Johnny has an axe to grind. Johnny hates all these people, always looking for a reason to nail them. And there are actual reasons to nail them. It is not one or the other. I live in both. So that's where I'm at. And in the middle of all this, Notre Dame has a game to get ready for, and nobody's talking about it, and that's dangerous. And maybe I'm a part of the problem because my video yesterday wasn't about how Notre Dame could shut up that crybaby, whining little bitch Narduzzi and all about, Michigan and whatever, because it's the hot topic. I get it. I'm just saying Notre Dame's got a game to play too. And I haven't heard a damn word about it from me or anybody else. I'm admitting I might be a part of this problem. Anyway, all right, I got off the damn tracks already. I'm sorry, but this stuff makes me excitable. As always, you can find the rocky start, man. There's just a lot going on. Now I'm delayed on the screen. Am I back? What the hell's going on here? I don't like it. As always, you can find the Rocky Start. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny Boy out as well. Notifications ended when you will learn it every time a new episode drops. Twitter, search bar Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysIrishND@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. The call-in lines. 312-988-15. You call and tell Johnny all that you may have heard and seen. Got a couple calls already. Light it up. I'm telling you guys, I don't like the vibes. There's nobody's dialed in. I don't mean literally on the phone. I kind of mean literally on the phone. The bye week, the calls go down. There isn't as much going on. People aren't as engaged. I get it. We got to start cranking the energy back up. Notre Dame's got to go 4-0 to save the season. It starts against Pitt. Nobody's talking about it. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish, Jake, USA Today, Fighting Irish. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. John Kennedy, Mike Goolsby. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? That is an adventure of the odd couple, and I love it. Thanks to everybody that's subscribed. Means the world to us. And so this is all starting in a weird place, people. It's Adam. Thanks for the $2 Spygate seems to be getting worse every day. What is it now? 37 stadiums, 37 different games the guy been to. Now every fan base is pulling pictures off Twitter of other fans that are in the stands with their phone up saying this proves they did it too. What a freaking mess. What a mess. Just an absolute, just a cluster. And who knows where it's going to go, where it's going to. Always Irish loves Narduzzi. Dude, that dude he's just a grown man crybaby. Nothing's ever his fault. Nothing's ever his team's fault. Nothing's ever his problem. It's somebody did this to us. We're the victim. The refs did this, and now, we're the nobody has any patience for it, man. Nobody has any patience for it. Ain't nobody got time for that. Like the ultimate, ain't nobody got time for that, dude. Pitt always plays us tough at home. That's another thing. Pitt is a team that has the ability against Notre Dame. If they're good and they're up, you're in for an all-day battle for sure. Even when they're down, sometimes they have the ability to just muck up the Notre Dame Pitt game. And make it ugly and make it just kind of make it mucked up and look uglier than you want it to look as a Notre Dame and just kind of grind you out and get you down in the mud fighting and all that. I ain't in the mood for that. We're not going to the playoff. You have 2 losses. There's no patience for any of this. But I don't know what we're going to see. Are you going to see the guys jumping out with all this electricity and a new bounce in their step after the bye that they desperately needed to get healthy and back put together and recharge their batteries? Or are you going to see sleepwalking because we're coming out of the bye and we're out of our routine and it's sleepy Pitt in an afternoon game and nobody cares about Pitt and we're looking at Clemson? I don't know what we're going to get, but I ain't here for no shenanigans. I ain't here for any shenanigans. So you better wake up. Nobody's talking about this pick 'em. It is 0. It has less juice than a closed Jamba Juice. JP McNamara, $10 FUSC. Well, that's a good way to start the morning, my friend. I agree with you completely. Said it before, said it again. I want my Notre Dame people to move out of California and then the rest of it to just slowly break up and dissolve into the Pacific, and it's just gone forever. Oh, John, that's mean. I don't care. I don't like those people, and I don't appreciate the way they live. All right? I have no respect for the way they live. Is Phil Jerkovic jerk-off playing? If he is, it's going to be tight end. That's how his career is going. And that's the other thing with that guy. I got a feeling today might just be one of those days where I'm on a little run here. Here's the other thing, Philly special. Maybe, just maybe, if you were on three different programs and it hasn't worked out for you at either one, maybe it's you. Sorry, man. If you're 0 for 3 and it hasn't worked out in 3 different places, maybe you should look in the mirror at some point and think, maybe I have something to do with this. And it's not just everywhere I land, it's a nightmare. Maybe you have something to do with the nightmare. Anybody ever think of that? Like, seriously, Joe, Michigan fans are really in their feelings over cheating. They're never going to admit anything. They're not going to admit anything. This is their year. They're undefeated. They think they have the Heisman guy. They're not going to believe any of this. Not even a little bit. Like, it's hard to even find one who will go, yeah, that's a bad look. Like, they're not going to admit anything. They're not going to admit anything. So it doesn't matter how much evidence. It doesn't matter how many pictures you have. They're not going to admit nothing. They just won't. They won't. $2 holler from Michael. Keep up the good meat chicken reporting, John. I'm here for anything that makes a Wolverine fan stress out. I'm here for times 100. Anything they don't like, I'll be here to report it times 100. I don't care. And you could say I'm bitter. You could say I'm jealous. We're not undefeated, killing everyone. I don't care. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm going after him. $5 holler from Adam. This is officially a 4-game job interview for Parker. I see it that way too. I'll get right to the phones in a second here. Got a few calls. I see it that way too, but I already see people reporting that it looks like the media is kind of setting up for Parker to return. And they're already kind of talking about that into next year. Bro, I ain't that far. What in the world would give you any indication that Parker's should return? What is it? You have to tell me what it is that would make me say, yeah, bring that guy back. What is it? The answer can't be he piled up a lot of points in the first 4 games against bad teams. That ain't the answer I'm looking for. Like, that's where I have a question, is what exactly is it that he's good enough that he deserves to come back? And I'm not being mean. I'm looking at the results. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just honestly looking at the results here. I just, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And here's the thing. This can't be a time for learning on the job charity any more than we already are doing it. That's the other part of this. Maybe there would be more flexibility on this angle if the dynamics were different at Notre Dame. But with the dynamics being that you have a head coach trying to learn what the hell he's doing on the fly, and we're seeing that there are issues he's got to learn through. How many spots on this team that are critical am I supposed to be okay with that learning curve? I got people saying, I don't see Parker coming back. Other people are saying he's not going anywhere. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just saying, I don't know what there is. You got to look at what's happening in the biggest games of the year. Notre Dame can't be an ongoing learning process for half of the damn staff or whatever. It can't be that. It can't be that. You already have a learning curve going on with the head coach, and he's a defensive guy. You can't have it be a learning job on offense too. And it's like, well, what does that look like? 1 year you fire the guy. I'm sorry. It can't be about feelings and how it looks and being nice to people. Freeman's legacy as a head coach is on the line, and all his decisions he makes are going to make or break kind of where his career goes. And I don't know. Here's Pat brought this up too. That's the other hard thing. It's like he's got 4 games to save his job. And what? It's 4 teams that aren't great. That's the hard part. You had that 4 games of BS on the front end. Hopefully 4 games of BS on the back end. And then in the middle 4 that made the year what it was going to be, playoff or not or whatever. You put up diddly poo and couldn't do nothing. It had no adjustments. So that's kind of the concern there, is continuing to go down that path. I don't know what the other thing is, I'm not ready to worry about that right now. Like, that needed to be a discussion for right after the last game of the year, right after Stanford. You have that discussion. 859, you're coming up first. So I don't know, but I wasn't ready to have that discussion yet, but it's just, if you're Freeman, this is all too important to have too many long leashes, learning curve stuff, like all of that. I'm just saying, you had a 4-game stretch that dictated what the year was going to be, and you lost half the games for different reasons, but you lost half the games, and even in the ones you won, the offense is a struggle bus. I don't know. There's some big decisions that have to be made here. Big decisions. Speaking of a big decision, I mean, it's not huge, but I want to go over this because it's important to me. Then we'll get to the calls, and I want to go through some of these chats and then a couple of my Pitt thoughts as well. You guys know how important the Subway alumni thing is to me with Notre Dame. That is just a big deal. Everybody in the Notre Dame fan base is aware of what the Subway alumni is and what that means. Die-hard Notre Dame families that love the Irish with all their hearts, but they just didn't go to school there. Weren't rich enough, weren't smart enough, not a good enough athlete, lived somewhere really far away, whatever those reasons are. That Subway alumni group is special. Notre Dame does not ascend to what they are today without the Notre Dame Subway alums. They are among the most passionate Notre Dame fans that there are, okay? And it isn't about their law degree and going back to talk stock picks in the parking lot before the game. It ain't about that. This is about Notre Dame's value system winning overall over everything else. That's what the Subway alumni are about. Okay. And there's a lot of us and there's a lot of them and they're everywhere and they're in all these different cities across the world. There's these hubs and you have these Notre Dame people that never went there, but carry on the values and represent Notre Dame all over the country and all over the world. And it's a very special thing. So that being said, I'd like to introduce our first show sponsor. It is ndsubwayalumni.com. This was created to unify all the Notre Dame Subway alums that did not attend the university but are passionate fans. Give them all something to be proud of and a place to gather. ndsubwayalumni.com has something for every Irish fan, from adult shirts, hats, onesies. Perfect gift for the holidays for the kids. How about this? You know, they have those shot skis. You drink shots and line them up. We got the Lou-ski. This is endorsed by Lou Holtz himself. There we got some of the hats, the gear. There's the shot ski, the Lou-ski. So we are the Subway alumni. There's a history of the Subway alumni, a history of the brand on this website, why it was created, what it's all about. And the reason that I chose to partner with these guys is I believe in the mission. So if I'm going to have a sponsor for this show and to be able to promote their stuff and have their support and support them, this is a big deal to me. It's a big deal to me that it would be somebody that understands my values and where I'm coming from. So that is a new sponsor of the show, the ND Subway alumni. And I'm proud to partner with them. I agree with the mission fully. It's a big deal to me. Okay. It's a big deal. And so make sure you go over there, go to the website, get a Lou-ski, shot ski. I'll have more stuff coming up promoting that in showing Lou Holtz. He's literally involved with this project, involved with the website. Shows up to the events, tailgates, all that stuff. So these guys are legit guys, created the website as a place for Subway alums to be able to gather and have everybody on the same page, pulling from the same end of the rope. But that Subway alumni thing, it means the absolute world to me. Like, that is, to me, like so much of the heartbeat and the pulse of the Notre Dame fan base, and they're spread out everywhere, and I love it. So make sure you check them out. Really glad to be partnering with them. That being said, let's take our first call of the day. 859, you're up on the line. What's going on?
I'm great sponsor. Now, That's a perfect thing to sign up with, John. It ties out to everything. But I'm the alumni that used to care about football. As you know, we had numerous talks we've had. The fact Michigan struggling, USC down, those are good things. How can you be a true Notre Dame fan and not enjoy that? Do you realize? Let me ask you a question. Excuse me, I'm battling a cold. Name me the top 5 programs that have caused Notre Dame the most pain all time.
Yep, they're both on the list. Hey, listen.
Name me the other 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say, I think, who else you gonna have on there? You gonna have BC on there?
Yep, they're 5.
Yep, you're gonna have BC on there. Who else you gonna have on there? Miami? Is Miami on there? Who else you got?
Yep.
Okay, yep. And then who's the other
Florida
one?
State.
Yeah, I was gonna say. All right, so
Florida
we're on the same page there. Yeah, and some of that's victim of your age. So I know your age range. So I was trying to kind of guess what's in the forefront of your brain. Listen, man, I admit I am biased against USC and Michigan. That does not mean that they have done nothing wrong and don't deserve to be made fun of. They have totally different issues going on now, but both of them are readily available to be made fun of. And I'm never going to miss that opportunity. And I do not feel bad about it at all. Not one bit.
You realize what side I'm on this, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right there with me.
I'm on Siberium.
Yeah, I don't have any.
I'm okay.
I don't have any need for any of it, and I have no patience for it. Now, but let me ask you this, though. You're not on Twitter and all that, but I see it every day. The social media, it's all about Michigan and still clowning USC and Lincoln Riley. There ain't a damn word about Pitt, and I just don't want this to be sleepy old Notre Dame wanders out of the bye, and then it's late third quarter and my air's falling out because we're in a dogfight against 2-5 Pitt. Tell me that's not what we're going to get out of the bye, Tim. Tell me.
I hope they stay. I hope not. The only thing is they have enough talent. I get how that game fell with Louisville. It was the fourth of the thing. I would hope not. But the only thing I listen to your show all the time. Everybody's poo-pooing Clemson. Clemson is not a bad team. Look at who they lost to. They still have a roster full of 4 and 5 stars. Everybody's acting like that's not going to be a tough game because they're going to be loaded for bear because they're not getting the ACC championship. What else are they playing for? You think they might want a little payback for last year? Everybody overlooking that game. You're nuts.
Yeah, no, you're
absolutely not.
That's how I see it too. In a lot of ways, they are going to be the reverse of Notre Dame last year. Have a really frustrated.
Agreed.
Really frustrated. Have a few losses, taking shots in the media, not where they want to be. Feel like they have more talent than the results. All of that BS wrapped into one. Then you're going to their place. It's going to be a physical, tough day at Death Valley. I do like that it's a day game and not a night game. It just gives them a handful less hours to drink and be loud. I don't mind that that's an afternoon game.
Question for you. I saw you tweeted that or put it out.
Yeah.
Is it a noon or 3:30?
I didn't hear confirmation. I just heard it was going to be one or the other. I think 2:30. I think they did announce it was going to be a 3:30 Eastern, 2:30. I think I did see that yesterday. But I'm just glad it isn't
on ABC.
I'm just glad it isn't one of those big night game things where they can drink all day and then it's just loud. Even though they're bad, it's extra loud. Like, we're avoiding that. But Dabo's pissed off. He's deflecting bullets in the media. Like, it is going to be, they're going to want to make a stand, and it's going to be up to Notre Dame to stop it.
Well, let me ask you this marketing move. When everybody says Notre Dame's not relevant, which I laugh at that one, but the ACC was trying to launch their network. I mean, they've been around 4 or 5 years. How do you not, and I understand they're owned by ESPN, how do you not move Notre Dame to Clemson, which helps us? That's the ultimate goal of how I spin this. You don't move that to the ACC network at 8 o'clock. They have an 8 o'clock Saturday game. How do you, if we're not relevant, don't get ratings, why aren't you there versus ABC? So I don't want to hear anybody say Notre Dame's not relevant. Shut up.
Yeah, no, it's
because if you look at the last 5 years, throw out the NBC games because that's Notre Dame. We own that on network.
Yeah.
But you look at our off games. Our worst game is on ESPN. 90% of them are on a major network. If you had a basic TV subscription, you could get the Notre Dame games, but we're not relevant. That kills me.
Yeah, no, it's something you hear every day. And every time somebody says it, it reaffirms Notre Dame's relevancy. Like it's the ultimate inverse. Like every time somebody says it, all it does is reaffirm that Notre Dame's relevant. Did you see when they put out the statistics of the viewership, the TV viewership? And I believe overall, I think maybe Colorado had a higher overall total because they've been on prime time every week because they want to push the Dion narrative, like all that stuff. And then it's Notre Dame and the USC game did huge ratings. Like, call us irrelevant all you want. And then it's like Notre Dame's irrelevant. Notre Dame's irrelevant. And then we're on another team's schedule. Well, we better flex that one into prime time and have the, in a blackout game and have game day here and everything up. But Notre Dame's irrelevant, but we're going to make it the biggest game of the year. And none of it makes any sense. But that's Notre Dame. Everybody's going to say they ate us, but then they want us in prime time. It's amazing.
The only thing that's worried me a little bit, because you notice now with the stepchild with NBC.
Yep.
If you watch
it
Sunday Night Football and blah, blah, blah.
It shows too, Tim.
They don't
Notre Dame
advertise our upcoming games. They don't.
Notre Dame is, the product was already rough. Tell me if you feel like this. Once they took on that additional contract to do the Big Ten and the Friday games or whatever, I feel like they didn't add resources. The resources are spread out more thin, and now they're a little less good at doing everything for all these games. I feel like the literal production, not just the announcers that put you to sleep, but the camera work, like that, what they're doing in the game, it isn't as good, dude. It isn't as good.
It's terrible. And the pecking order, out of 1 to 10, we're 50th.
Yeah.
And that scares me. Although Lou Holtz needs to make a call to his former punter, is this clown going to sell us out? He's got me worried because unfortunately, we're re-signing with them. I don't know when they're going to break that.
Yeah.
But we're now a stepchild. I mean, really? We couldn't have gone to Fox or go to another streaming service and make the money? I don't buy that. I just don't. And you're not advertising our games like you used to, because they didn't have a lot of promos on the Notre Dame USC game. They had a few, but not many. But they used to at least do a commercial. They didn't do that. The only thing they advertise is the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Well, is NBC Big Ten? Are we Notre Dame? Wait a minute. You signed us back in 1993 off the greatest game of the year, and now you want to just get rid of us. So that goes in the fraction. Well, are we going to get a little extra buyout and just go away? Because we've talked about this. There's a big portion of that, the upper elite alumni, that those stupid law professors that want football to go away.
Yep.
That's what scares me.
Yeah. It really is not out of bounds to feel like that Big Ten is getting all the priority now. And then it's like, oh yeah, little John. It's like if you have a kid and they're like 5 and then you have a baby, all the attention's on the baby because it's new and it's just getting more of the care and the attention. And it's like, you take for granted the other kid already had their time and they're in the fold, but whatever. That's what it kind of feels like. And so I don't know, man. It's just, just win these 4 games. Like I'm annoyed with everything, Tim. The NBC thing annoys me. Notre Dame having the losses they do annoys me. Michigan annoys me. USC annoys me at all. It's all bugging me.
But don't lose faith, because the question, I know you got to go both sides, but you would have lost your mind with Lou Holtz, and he had the experience. Let's give Marcus his due. It's his first time job. Look what Lou Holtz and the great coaches did. It's always year 3. Now, the only thing is it's not the same dynamics because you only had to win 1 game. Now you got to win 4 starting next year.
Yeah.
So I think we can ultimately get there. I don't know. I think we're in a better position because let's face it, little lazy swamp thing down there was never going to take us to the ultimate promised land.
Correct.
He was too lazy.
Correct.
I think if he had done a little bit more work, I think we could have gotten there. But he wasn't willing to do that.
Yeah.
He wanted to be on a golf course.
Yep, you're right.
So, and these clowns that want to fire Marcus, okay, or who would you like to hire that's actually going to give a damn about Notre Dame and actually going to do the work to bring in the talent?
Yeah.
Give me that name, and then I'll shut up.
Yeah,
and you give me that name when you want to start bitching about Freeman and his coaching staff and blah, blah, blah.
Luke Fickell.
You tell me who's going to get Notre Dame back to the promised land.
That's the other name that I've heard the most, Luke Fickell.
Ask Ohio State people about him. They were iffy on him. What's Wisconsin? I haven't looked. What's Wisconsin's record this year? I don't think it's that good.
I think they're 5-2 or something. They started out. I think they only have 2 losses, something like that. But that's the other name people have gone to as far as a guy with experience that you kind of knew what you were going to get. Here's what I see with that. If you would have went that way, higher floor, lower ceiling is what I see that as, just personally. But maybe that's not fair to Fickle, but he just doesn't excite me.
No, John,
I don't know.
Not to cut you off, but you did a best show on this. The spirit of Leahy and Rockney.
Yeah.
Fickle would have been he would have been Brian Kelly 2.0 or 2.3, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
The point is, Freeman gets the spirit of Notre Dame. The coaches that love Notre Dame and live and die it got to the promised land. Granted, different dynamics. Fickle was never going to take us to that.
Yeah.
He would have maybe gotten you to 10 wins. I ultimately think, given the resources, which we can debate, that's like a 2-hour show.
Yeah,
you and your new partner should go off on that.
Yeah.
Will the school devote the resources to that? You guys are more on the inner track on that. I've been back to Notre Dame in over 12 years. I don't know what their dynamics are. Part of me is scared to death. They really like football to just go away.
Yeah.
You're more on an inside track with that.
Yeah. It's I like what you said about this. Marcus getting the spirit in Notre Dame. I don't think you have a chance to succeed at Notre Dame if you don't have that drive, and it can't be built. It can't be learned. It's kind of something you have to have in you. Even if you're not a Notre Dame guy originally, some guys have that ability to respect Notre Dame and let it get into their soul. Lou had it and Marcus has it. And that symmetry between the understanding that mission and everything means a lot to me in the head coach. And the last few have not had it. Even Charlie Weiss, I question how much he had it. Even as a Notre Dame guy, I felt like he was too arrogant to even feel the room out. Like
he was a narcissist.
Yeah, exactly. Freeman gets it, and that makes things possible in Notre Dame that haven't been recently. So you got to keep recruiting. You got to keep developing. Marcus has to keep learning. You got to eliminate the mistakes and all of that. It's just, yeah, it's a journey, man. It's a journey. So I don't know.
All right. Well, beat Pitt. And then a question, are you going to do your show with your buddy from Clemson?
I'm sure we will. When we get into Clemson week, I'm sure I'll get with Pigskin Pete and maybe I'll join him for a day, and then he'll join me for a day, and we both could get run in our own networks. And he's a good guy, good friend, good family man. I'd love to do a show with him again. Thanks for reminding me that. I'll text him that. So I'm sure we'll have something for that.
Well, here's the other question. Do you think it's guaranteed? Do you know specifically, do we have to, the first rankings come out next Tuesday?
I believe so.
What do we have to finish to get a BCS thing? Is it 12?
I think.
Or is it 11?
I thought it was top 12.
Okay.
No, I don't know that for sure, but I think that's what it is. Yeah, so you got to go 10-2 and then hope you things fall into place. But 10-2 needs to be your first goal. That's all we could control. And you got to go 10-2 for anybody to feel like this was a year heading in the right direction. I don't think 9-3 does it. It just doesn't. 9-3 does not give people that feeling. You got to go 10-2 and then go win one of those big bowl games.
That would be nice. I hope we can get there. Let's just hope Hartman, which I believe he was injured. The week helped, and then he's fully recovered, and we have an offense. We need to score early. We cannot be in a dogfight with Pitt because that'll be scary. Because I don't think but Stanford we better roll.
Yeah.
But in order to beat Clemson, we have to show a life on offense.
That's what I was going to say. That's the problem with having a half-assed offense against these guys is it isn't going to get any better when you play Clemson who has better athletes. I hope we see some new things, more efficiency, a couple wrinkles, get those wide receivers healthy and involved. I don't know, man. It's frustrating. And I don't know what we're going to get the back end on these 4 games. I just think Marcus Freeman's going to have some very difficult decisions to make about the direction of a lot of things. And he's got to pick right. His legacy's on the line.
Not year 2, 3. If we're still struggling offensively after year 3, then yes.
Yeah, I just mean
Give
big
him the
picture.
3-4 years. You got
like big picture. I'm just saying big picture. He has to keep in mind that everything that happens and all these decisions ultimately add up to his legacy. So you can't be feeling bad if you want to get rid of Parker, but he's your buddy or whatever. Like, you just have to make that decision. So, I don't know.
But he didn't want Parker. He didn't want Parker.
It's a very good point.
Again,
it's a very good point. Very good point. That's not even up for doubt. That's not even up for doubt. You know that wasn't his first choice. So maybe you're right. It might be easier to make that move because you knew he wasn't the number 1 guy. I don't know.
I mean, once again, de-emphasize football. Hey, come on. That's chump change. That's like 30 cents to Notre Dame.
Yep. Yeah, it
is.
The
buyouts. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
And no, but once again, and nobody lost their job. Remember when you were probably too young, but remember when we heard George O'Leary? People should have been fired.
Yeah.
I have engineers, and I'm a tax leader. You're telling me there's not a staff? That's the biggest hire you're ever going to make at Notre Dame, is the head football coach at Notre Dame. You don't have a checks and balances in to do all the where's the degree from? Do you do this, do this? Hey, I didn't hear anybody losing their job on the O'Leary thing.
Not only on that one, somebody checked all the numbers and stuff on this one too, and they just checked the wrong set of paperwork. That's how this all.
How do you do that?
That's how this
John, that's
all.
A basic question. What are you more?
That's how this all started going sideways. Somebody did do the checks on the P's and Q's, and it was the wrong document. The wrong document. No, that's what started all this.
I can ask in 2 seconds. No, I'm going to get fired up. You're interviewing the guy. What is your latest contract? Please, like your resume, please provide the latest contract that you've signed.
Yeah. They thought
for the love of God, we're the number 1 business school in the country.
They thought.
You're telling me you wouldn't answer that?
Hey, they thought.
No, they didn't think.
They pre-did the research, Ed, and thought they knew the scoreboard, and then they sat down to finalize it, and no one.
And you know as well as I do who's behind this.
No
and
one.
They won't throw him under the bus.
No one was on the same page with the numbers, and they're like, "What are you talking about? We are miles."
The clown that would. The clown we never would have had 93, and he's a clown. You know this guy's who?
I know.
His initials are RP.
I know. And but that's how this.
He was a clown in 93.
It's a big mistake.
He's got something on the priest at Notre Dame.
It's a big mistake.
He's a clown.
It's a big mistake. And that started.
Why did he keep his job?
Because he's a Notre Dame guy. That's why. I don't know. He's a Notre Dame guy. I don't know. I mean, but that was a big mistake. But anyways, Tim, I don't know. There's a lot to think about here. Notre Dame's got.
We cannot lose in the next 4 weeks.
No, you can't.
We cannot.
No. And so,
and the dream. You know how you get rid of some of the bitterness, because you know where I live. Look at the 2 states. The combined total each way is 125 miles. You go 10-2, and you take out Kelly. Or I'll even take Saban. One of those 2. Give me that.
Yeah.
That would be fitting. Send Saban out just like Bear Bryant. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Because there's rumors he's going to retire. Yeah. Wouldn't that be beautiful to send an Alabama coach out just like Ara Parsegan did with the great Bear Bryant? By the way, how many of your fan base knew that? That's the one team Bear Bryant never beat.
Yep. And that's going back.
So,
people should
wouldn't that
know
be
that
beautiful
history.
If we got Alabama or LSU? You want to talk about your calls leading into that show? You might have to do it like 3 nights in a row.
Oh man, if that lined up, it would be for us not being in the playoff. That would be about as big as it could be. Anything on the way out, Tim? Nice touch of base with you. We shot all over the board on this one.
Good luck. All the best to you. Just please win. I'm old man. Please win in the next 4. Just please win.
You're not that old. Come on, buddy. You're not that old.
Hey, you talk about your hairline. Think about it. I haven't, in my wildest dreams, when I walked out in '89, that our last time would be '88. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, you know how many people told me that?
It's 30 plus years.
Do you know how many people told me
that
same
40.
thing that you did? And my dad telling me we were just thinking every other year you should be winning a championship. Like, what? We're in the mix what we wouldn't give for those days again. Tim, thanks for calling.
Prior to that, I had 5. When I couldn't sleep, I did the coaches. I'm at 4-4 right now. Coaches in my lifetime. I've had 4 great coaches and 4 bad ones.
Yeah.
Freeman's the tip factor.
Man.
And our biggest after I graduated was Faust for 5 years. And then we went through the 3 clowns.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Freeman does get it done. I have to give Kelly, he was a positive only because he had 3 undefeated seasons.
Yeah.
Now, he was lazy, but what he could have been, but he was better than the 3 we had prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm glad he's a Swamp Thing.
Yeah, me too.
Please.
All right, man.
All right, last question.
Go ahead.
No, let's go.
Go ahead.
Who are you rooting for, Alabama, LSU?
Oh, I'm rooting for Alabama. No doubt. I'm rooting for Alabama.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm rooting for Alabama. I will only root for Kelly if it advances Notre Dame. Meaning, like, if he wins a game, it puts us in the playoff or something.
But I wouldn't mind knocking Alabama out of the playoffs.
Right.
I know.
But it would give.
That's the only positive.
I don't want Kelly to start at LSU 2-0 against Alabama. That would bother me. I want him to go down and then if Michigan and LSU played, I think I would root for LSU in that situation because at least Kelly was halfway a Notre Dame guy for a while. That's about the only one I could see without us involved where I would root for Kelly if it was against Michigan. I would say I would actually do that on that one. I would. But that's about it.
All right. Well, all the best. Thanks for taking my call.
Have a good one,
Good
man.
luck on your Friday show.
Oh, thank you.
You too.
Take care. Oh, that guy loves Notre Dame. He gets so fired up. My family. It's all messed up how you spelled it, and I still know what you meant. My family. Oh, man. All right, let me make sure. I don't want to miss any of these super chats. $6 Always Irish Art. Always Irish Patreon channels gold. Goolsby behind the scenes past stories and battles with John are great. You can thank me later. Thank you, Always Irish Art. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, it's really fun. And it's just a weird dynamic that works. You have the 6'5", 265 all muscle captain linebacker. And then you have little old skeleton frame media guy in his basement, John. And we ended up growing up 15, 20 minutes apart, like in all these worlds combined through Notre Dame. And then here we are. It's a beautiful thing. Really good guy to work with. $5 from Mike, 3883. OSU and many other Big Ten schools have those Midwest values. Join the Big Ten and pick on USC and the Wolverines more. I'm telling you, man, that Big Ten it's going to have a lot more intrigue to me week to week. It isn't going to just be like, oh, who's the Big Ten's on? Who's Michigan play? Who's Ohio State play? Oh, that's it. There's nothing else really to care about in the Big Ten right now. It ain't Penn State. It ain't Penn State. I'm not even getting into that again. That is just a joke. Pumped up every year, ranked in the top 10 to start every year. This is the year it's going to be different. This is the year they can win the Big Ten. And then they win 10 games against nobodies like Kelly used to do. And then in the big games, then they lose and play horrible, have no offense. And we repeat it again the next year and they're ranked high in the top 10 and the same shit happens. Like, I just can't do it. I just can't believe in them. And Frank, he always looks all bugged out and kind of swaggy, but then they never back it up. He bugs me. There's something about that guy that bugs me. He carries himself as if he's done more than he's done. I would love to get behind Penn State, but I can only do that if you're going to be knock off Michigan and Ohio State. If you're not going to do that, I have no use for you. If you're not going to do that, I have no use for you existing. You don't do anything for my cause, bro. $2 Aller. Congratulations on the sponsorship. Thank you very much, Mike. I really appreciate that. It's another step in the process here. It's another part of the growth. And I just wanted to be careful about who you partner with and who you're taking on or whatever. This is just a really good damn fit. Really good fit. Oh, man. Adam, it's good to see you, buddy. I wanted to, let's see, phone lines 312-900-8815. I'm telling you, folks, I measure the wave of all this kind of based on the interactions. How many people are here? How many people are chatting? How many people are calling? And it rolls week to week with the vibe, with the story, whatever the narrative is for this week or that week or whatever. All right? There ain't nothing popping. There's no juice for this game. And it just makes me nervous. So I don't know what we're going to expect Saturday. Everybody's distracted on Michigan and everything else going on, and USC, Riley, the media. Let's do this real quick. Number one, USC is a hell of a job opportunity for Lincoln. He is not navigating it correctly at all. He is acting as if this is like a local, good old boy Oklahoma media network and not LA. He don't get it. He don't get it. This is LA. They're eating him alive. Those media, they're eating him alive in LA. For the cowardice, for, oh, he was sick. He couldn't do his radio show. Okay, fine. He was sick. It's hard to believe that when a couple days earlier after they lost, he made no players available to the media. Again, USC are front runners. They only want that LA Hollywood spotlight when times are good. When times are bad, they duck out. They go into the shadows or to the beach or whatever, and then they show back up when they're good again. No one respects that. No one in America respects that. A front runner that will not face anything when it doesn't go their way. It is crybaby, phony, fake, front-running BS. That's the whole USC brand, is being soft front runners. And the names and the faces change, but that is still their underlying value. They are fake, fraudulent front runners that I don't respect. A part of being a head college football coach, yeah, it's to win games and do all that. You need to develop these young men. Isn't that a part of the mission, is to develop these guys to become better, healthy members of society and all that stuff? That should be a part of the coaching journey when you're doing it in college. These aren't pros. What message does it send that as soon as something doesn't go your way and everybody's mad at you and asking you tough questions, he tells the players, you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to deal with that. What kind of message is it? Like, that's a horrible message to be sending your team. And, well, if things don't go good and you're not happy, you don't have to go face the music. You don't have to deal with a situation that makes you uncomfortable. You don't have to think about things that make you upset and talk about what happened or whatever. Just avoid it. Duck out. So Riley should have been smart enough to know the best thing he could have done was to get in good with the LA media. If you could get in good and play nice with the LA media, maybe they'll carry your water when things don't go good. Maybe they'll throw you a bone on an article or on their radio show or whatever to kind of help you when you don't deserve it or whatever, cover for you. You got to work it, baby. You got to work it. He ain't working it. And if you get the LA media flipped on you, any chance they get, they're going to nail you. And that is the path this guy's on. He's navigating all of it wrong. All of it wrong, other than buying that $17.5 million beautiful home in LA. He's handling it all wrong. So he's well on his way to pissing off this media, and all that is going to do is ratchet up the heat. And I got news for them this year, and I got news for them big picture. This year, the front half of their schedule was the easy half. I know Cal's Cal, and they're not that good. Good luck against Washington. Good luck against Oregon. And even UCLA could get them if they're not careful. I got them at about 8-4 territory. And quite frankly, you love to see it. Lincoln's up there saying, I don't understand where people got it. Why the media's talk about championship expectations, and that's the goal. That's a narrative the media create. I don't know where that expectation came from. That expectation came from Lincoln Riley's pie hole. He is the one that got up there running his mouth, talking about all of that big picture stuff, and that's the goal, and that's why I'm here, and it's going to be year after year and all that. He is literally the one that talks like that. It's on tape. The quotes are out. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So anyways, he's going nowhere quick. And if you're having these issues now, I don't know how it's going to go for you jumping in that Big Ten, man. You're going to have a whole different group of problems in the weather and with the travel and the physicality week in, week. Oregon and Washington can hang in the Big Ten when it comes to that, in my eyeballs, in my opinion. USC would just get mowed down in that Big Ten week to week. Even the teams that don't have talent are going to just grind them down physically because the way the Big Ten is. Even the teams that don't have talent are going to do that. Whatever. Good luck. Good luck. Crazy boy. Notre Dame media throws softball questions. It's tough, man. It's tough. I understand the job those guys have where you have things you want to ask. Some of them should be tough questions, blah, 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 blah. And then on the other side of your mind, you're thinking, man, I want to get that private interview with Marcus. I don't want to piss him off. I am not acting like that's an easy thing to navigate. And the more that I've grown and this show's grown and my network has grown and I have more contacts at Notre Dame and around Notre Dame than I had before, I'm realizing that. And people have said, John, you got to realize some of the places you take some of this could limit your options moving forward because you're on the books taking some of these stances. That's just a risk I have to take. But I would rather lose some relationships and opportunities and maybe a little money to be able to feel like I'm speaking my truth every day. So it's just tough. But if you think these guys that meet with Freeman 3 or 4 or 5 times a week are going to get in there and start nailing them, that's tough. Like, that's tough. If you were somebody who wasn't just a beat writer, it's easier for a national guy to ask a tough question because they're national. Their whole identity doesn't revolve around that access and that relationship and just covering Notre Dame. It would be a lot easier as a national guy whose living doesn't depend on being goody with Marcus Freeman. Be a lot easier to ask tough questions then. A lot easier. So, you know, I don't know. It's a tough dynamic. Hold on a second. I wanted to cover something else. Going back up to the top of these comments here. Oh, let's see. Where are we? Update. Load. Internet. Yeah, this is good radio while I scroll up a million times. Does anybody have any Pitt thoughts, by the way? They're not good at football, but could be a big pain in the ass. Does anybody have any of those thoughts? No more O-line rotation. Alt, Coogan, Corral at the Golden Corral, Rocco, and Fisher. That's going to be it. So if you didn't like all that rotating, they're done doing that. Seems like the wide receivers are healthier. Are they going to be better? I don't know, but they're at least healthier from what I've read. Here we go. Andrew, good to see you, buddy. John, I think the next 2 games are growth games for Freeman. Pitt is not good, but if you don't bring your A game, they could do you like Marshall or Stanford did last year. No slip-ups, especially at home. 100% agree with this. 100% agree with this. And the idea would be defense does what they do, play good defense, and then offense trends up heading into Clemson. That's what we want to see Saturday. The D, do what you do, And then that offense trend up heading into Clemson, so we all feel better about that operation going to Death Valley. I absolutely agree with this Pitt analysis. Not a good Pitt team. But if you're going to mess around, anything can happen. It's stupid Pitt, Narduzzi, and they're grindy and all that crap. If you mess around, you could have a problem. And I need you to just not mess around. Come out excited to be back on the field. You've been off 2 weeks. I mean, be excited. I need Notre Dame to look and appear like they're excited to get back into football. And I don't think I'm asking for too much. I also think I agree with this. On Clemson, no matter their record, they're a tough team. They won't quit on Dabo. This Clemson team at FSU beaten. The kicker missed a field goal from 30 yards. Kelly couldn't win big road games. Can Freeman? This is a really good thought. Clemson's going through some stuff. I think their assistant coaches on offense are bad. They have coaching issues, development issues right now. They're not good. They could beat Notre Dame any given Saturday, though. Are you kidding me? The way Notre Dame is like up and down, and I'm not sure what I'm going to get. Clemson could absolutely beat Notre Dame any given Saturday this year, the way we play. They have the talent. It's just they have problems kind of all over that are adding up to get them. But especially if you're at their place and you sleepwalk, bro, you could be dead. You could just be dead. So that game, nobody should look at Clemson's record and go, oh, Notre Dame should run in there and roll them at their place. You're an idiot. I do not see it that way at all. I want it. I would love it. It would make my day, but I ain't counting on that. If Notre Dame plays well, they should beat Clemson. If Notre Dame plays iffy, then you're in a dogfight all night at their place or all evening, afternoon, whatever it's going to be. That's exactly how I see it. If Notre Dame plays good, they win by 10 or more. If they play half-ass or whatever, make a mistake, sloppy, this and that, no offense, whatever that's going to be, then you're in it. You're in it. You're in the shit then, bud. You're in the shit at that point. Final point. I don't love when I'm hearing from the ND media. They're setting the stage for Parker to return and Golden to exit. Not good, in my opinion. If ND can get their coaches right, sky's the limit. Well, I would agree that it's not ideal when the guy that just pitched a great game against USC and the defense is the strength of the team might be out. And then the part of the team that's the worst part of the team, we got to have that guy come back. Come on, man. Just come on. Don't do it. Is that not the most Notre Dame-y thing of all time? That the part of the team that's doing well right now, there's rumors that guy's going to leave. And then the part none of us are happy with, oh, we got to bring those guys back. Come on, bro. You're killing me. You're killing me. You are killing me on that. Unbelievable. And then here's the other part of this too. Something else is whatever's going to happen with this Michigan thing and all this drama and all the stuff on social media of everybody showing everything that's happening now, like all of this documentation now and all the evidence and the receipts. What are the odds that if they adjudicate this and come up with a punishment for Michigan, what are the odds that that comes in like 3 or 4 years? Harbaugh's long gone and in the NFL. Whatever's going to happen this year is going to happen this year with Michigan, and then they're going to live with it. And then 3 to 4 years down the road, you're going to have a thing, oh, by the way, we're nailing Michigan for this stuff. And it's way down the road. And there's no punishment in the moment for them cheating this year. That's another big differentiator for me in this one. A lot of times it's like 3 years later, you hear a team was doing something 3 years ago, and it's all in the past. That ain't what this is. This is in the moment. And that's where I ask, does that change things? Think about what I'm telling you. Usually these are years later, something leaks of something that was going on, but isn't now, but we got to nail them because it happened. This was ongoing. They had tickets to spy on Penn State and Ohio State last week. This is a live cheating operation up until they got busted. And then Friday, they suspended this dude. And then Saturday, each of the seats, one on each sideline that he bought for Penn State, Ohio State, were open. To me, that is the differentiator here. That is the differentiator. This is ongoing, affecting this season. That's what makes me ask, is there any scenario where the Big Ten steps in and goes, we can't let Harbaugh just do this with all this evidence in this investigation? He at least needs to be on the Fitzgerald, you're suspended path or something. But the idea that this is going to go on in the season, and then they're allowed to run right through playing all nobodies in the high school season and everything, and then we're just all supposed to act like it's on the up and up. And then trying not to get mad. Is the playoff committee going to get up there next week and run their mouth about how dominant and great Michigan has been? Number one, that's going to make me infuriated because they played nothing but high schoolers, and that committee wants to rank them high, and they're not going to bring up the bad strength of schedule. They're going to mention how dominant they've been against all these teams. Everything with this group is a two-sided coin, what they want to present you. You could say Michigan has played nobody, and we are having them ranked down until we see them play a good team, which will be the end of the year. That ain't going to happen. They're going to flip it. What I would use to nail them for a cowardly weak schedule, this committee won't do that. They're going to say, look at how they dominated everybody, and it's been so impressive. You got to rank them high. That's going to piss me off, that framing and that phrasing. And then the other thing that's going to piss me off is they're not going to mention a damn thing about any of this sign bullshit at all. The committee is spineless. They don't want to get in the way of whatever the NCAA is doing. They are going to totally ignore that. And I would be surprised if it even came up when they do the announcement show. And I want to be I know how this shit's going to go. I want to be very, very clear. The actual show with the NCAA, not the NCAA, with the actual selection committee, which is separate than the NCAA, the actual show where they have those nerds in that hotel boardroom and they're all acting like they're writing notes, like they know what's going on. They're not going to mention Michigan's cheating thing at all. The ESPN people will, because it's good for their ratings. So when they leave that show and then bring it back to ESPN headquarters to go over what they think, those guys are going to bring it up to drive their ratings. The playoff committee, I want us to check this next week when they do their first thing. How much do you want to bet it doesn't come up at all? And all of us are going to be expected to ride out the rest of the year with Michigan being dominant and being awesome. And this investigation's ongoing in the background, and they have 90 days to convert to reply or whatever. We're all going to sit there like Muppets and puppets, and we're just supposed to all act like all this hasn't been going on in the year that's put them in this position. I'm already sickened by it, and you know what? I'm not watching that bullshit show. Show me who the rankings are after. I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it. The committee's a joke. The people on it are a joke. The ego that the people in that room have is a joke. Like, it is a combination of everybody I don't like in a room for all the reasons I don't like them. Power brokers, backroom wheeling and dealing, big-time conference-affiliated people. All of that. All of that. So I don't know, but that's what's going to happen. We're all going to be told to ignore it all and ride out the year with their eyes closed. Just be so impressed that Michigan's dominating the local Ann Arbor high school circuit. It's going to be unbelievable. Screw them. Adam says the Chicago media would eat Lincoln alive. Dude, the LA media ain't no joke. Like, if you're in good with the LA media, they treat you good. And if you don't do them right, you're going to be nailed. This guy is mismanaging all of this. The relationship building, all of that, the media give and take back and forth. LA is different, bro. LA, New York, Chicago, it's different. Philly, it's a different. When you're in one of those markets, life is different. And there is a certain way you got to navigate that. And man, you're getting these big brand name, longtime LA guys. Like, who is it? Is it Plaschke, whoever it is out in LA, man? You see that name, you know that name. And then you know he's going to rip somebody in that column. So they got problems, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. The Chief. Honestly, my weirdness with the Michigan thing is how broad the range of serious people seem to be taking this with. One person says vacated wins, postseason ban, and then somebody else says it's a slap on the wrist if it's even illegal at all. This might be a loophole. I don't know either. It wouldn't surprise me if this runs Harbaugh off. Does this not look like one big swan song on the way out? You better win it this year, whatever. Things are piling up. Harbaugh's in the middle of two pain-in-the-ass investigations with the NCAA. I understand Harbaugh in Michigan were in negotiations to make him the highest-paid college coach early this year. It's not done yet. And now you got to ask where that discussion falls with what's going on now. Listen, Harbaugh already clearly had NFL interest before they started winning all these games and everything and all these problems. He already had the interest. Now you're embroiled in two of these. It is crystal clear the NCAA is out to get him for good reasons. That's the other thing. I've seen a bunch of people ask, doesn't it feel like the NCAA is kind of out to get Harbaugh and this is some of this is a little bit personal? Yeah, because he deserves it. That doesn't mean it's unwarranted. Yes, they're kind of targeting him because he put a target on his back. He has not handled any of this NCAA stuff with Burgergate or any of that. He has not handled it like a mature adult from Earth. He was goading and baiting the NCAA. He was playing games with them. He was not giving them clear answers. He was lying. He was giving misleading statements. He did all that. So he was on their shit list. That doesn't mean there isn't reasons, though. It just means they're going to nail you. They're not just going to try and get you for speeding, but it's going to be the paperwork's out, the tint on your windows, your license plate sticker is out of date. You're going to get 4 or 5 things, not one thing. Yes, they're targeting Harbaugh more than other people for a reason. They keep doing things that are skirting the rules or on the edge of the rules, and the way he interacts with them is kind of taunting. And I don't respect the NCAA, but they think so much of themselves, they're not going to let that stand, so they're going after the guy. That's what the hell's going on here. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if he's in the NFL, and then 3 years into this, we get an email, oh yeah, we're vacating some of this. They better not win the championship. That's all I'm saying. I don't even care if they win the Big Ten, whatever. That doesn't mean anything to me. That banner, they just can't win the title. And even if they do, this is going to hang over them. And then hopefully they vacate it or say all those wins when you were doing that are out or something. I don't know. I just need them not to win it all this year and then let it all fall where it falls. Let it all fall where it falls. Oh, you know what? Give me 30 seconds. I have a list of Pitt stats that I wanted to go over, and I left them in the other room. Let me check. I'll be back. Let me see if I have them on my phone, but I think I printed them out. And I left them in the other room. Oh, boy. All right. I don't have that. Let me grab it. I want to go over these stats. Couple things are interesting. Let me go find this note. Oh. All right, let me take a look at this because there's a couple interesting things on here that I wanted to note. Okay, here's what's interesting about Pitt. We need elevator music, John. Yeah, I know. I need some good commercials to run so that if I have to do something or go take a break, I can actually have some promos running. Like, I don't know why I haven't thought of that yet. Pitt gives up and allows the exact same amount of points. It's like 24 and a half. 24 and a half. I just think it's interesting that they're a team that gives up as much as they score. And I find that interesting. 88th in the country at 24 and a half points a game. Yards per game, 115th in the country. They ain't gaining yards. Rush yards, 114th in the country. Pass yards, 92nd in the country. Now, we all know the Philly specials at tight end now. That's not going to be the quarterback. They're not good on offense. They're just not. Okay, they're not good on offense. But now on defense, here's where it gets a little interesting if you're a Notre Dame fan. What are we nervous about coming out of this bye? I'll ask you, what are you nervous about? Like, for me, I'm nervous about that offense. Everybody wants it to come out of the bye looking way, way, way more put together and reliable week in to week out. This offense, I don't think you can trust. And all of the fans want us to come out of the bye all fired up and ready to go. And we got a renovated offense and it's going to look all different and all that. Bro, I don't know if you're going to see that. I don't know how much is realistic to expect to change over the bye week. Maybe getting healthier is going to do it. Maybe getting healthier is going to help enough on its own with wide receivers that can block and go out now and catch. Maybe that'll open it up. But this offense has to look better. And it has to look better this week, but it definitely has to look better for the next week. I don't think you can count on trying to beat Clemson the way you beat Clemson last year. You don't get that out of your ass every week. Like, if you're a good offense, you could be a good offense fairly regularly. You can't count on pick sixes and block kicks for touchdowns. You could love them, you could want them, but you can't rely on them. There's a reason those plays are so big and special. It's because they don't happen as much as all the other plays do. That's why it's a big deal. And so, I don't know. It's just a frustrating thing. So they're giving up 24 and a half points a game, 64th overall defense. So they're better there. And the defensive stats are much better than their offensive stats. And I kind of get it because Pitt, you think of being a kind of a roughneck, grind you down, muck it up in the mud type of team that wants to play physical defense and just make the game look ugly. 26th in pass yards allowed per game. 48th in rushing yards allowed per game. 15th in the country in tackles for a loss. Pass yards, 27th in the country. Turnovers created, 79th in the country. They have 9. And so when I'm looking at this, I just keep thinking, if Notre Dame's offense is as bad as it has been, and then you're sleepwalking after the bye, you're going to run into a problem here. Or is Pitt so far down this time that you should be able to run them over and overcome that, even if you have a slow start, even if your offense is still not good? Can you do enough to do that? Or is it literally going to have to be, like Adam said, low scoring, a lot of defense, late October in sleepy South Bend, and you play a defensive game and you win 27-14 or 13, something? I don't know. Yeah, bet the under, Adam. That would be a good idea for sure with these two teams. I don't know how to say this. I don't know if we have reasonable expectations of the offense coming out of the bye. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know what is reasonable to expect. They're not going to redo their schemes. Like, Parker's not going to come up with a whole bunch of schemes, I don't think. I think they're going to run pretty much the same stuff and just hope they execute a little better. And here's the other thing. They're going to execute a little better in the final 4 games because the final 4 teams are not that good. So you could be just as not good on offense as you were the last 4 games, and it's going to look better in the next 4 because you're not playing 4 teams as good. Don't be fooled by that. Don't be fooled by that if that's the trick. So they're going to look a little better no matter what because these teams aren't great. That ain't what I'm looking for. 19 points, James. He asked, what's the line? I believe it was 18 or 19. Might have been 18. It was Notre Dame 18 or 19. I swear to God, I saw that. I'm not making it up. 18 or 19. They're coming off a bad loss. They're coming off a really bad loss. Why is Pitt losing to Wake's 3rd string quarterback, man? Like, that's really bad. So they're definitely coming off a bad loss, and you would hope that they're, spiraling the drain and they don't have that energy. 20 is the line now. Wow. I just don't know if I see Notre Dame scoring enough anyway to get up by 20. I thought it was 19 when I looked yesterday. I just don't even know how Notre Dame's going to do that unless they're getting a pick 6, short fields. JD, the price is right. Breaking off a kick. I don't know. I'm certainly not betting on Notre Dame's offense getting up by 20. You out of your freaking mind? No way. They scored 48 against USC. Yeah, but again, why though? Wasn't the offense? That's my point, Pat. Yeah, they scored 48 against USC because of the defense. And you can't count on that the way you should be able to count on a good offensive structure. And again, man, football stats are like any other stats. You could maneuver them around. You can maneuver them around to make them say what you want. Pat's saying 31 points by the offense, and then he knows where I'm going, so he followed it up. There you go, Pat. Damn it, Pat. You know the way my brain works. 31 points by the offense, and then he says, I understand the short fields. If you take out the short field possessions, punt, field goal, punt, punt. And the longest play in those drives was eight plays, I think. So 2 sets of downs. That ain't good enough. It's not good enough. I was thrilled with the USC win. But I'm not fooling myself that was a good offensive performance. When you take out the short drives, punt, field goal, punt. 8 plays, and then 3 plays for the rest. It's just not okay. What's the difference between NC State and Pitt? I think Pitt's more annoying, Pat. I don't like Pitt's coach a lot more than NC State's. Narduzzi's just such a crybaby whiner. Just such a little whiny biatch. I just cannot. Nick, thanks for being here, man. Get back to work. It's just, I just hate it. Take out all the, it's not my point, buddy. You got to open your little fragile mind up. You got to open your fragile little mind up so your little Notre Dame feelings don't get hurt, Tim. Take out all the good plays and we stink. What a great take. I am analyzing subsets of the game. I am analyzing subsets of the game so we could get an honest opinion on where it's at. All I've been doing is ripping USC and riding a high on this game. I take 1 minute to try and break out to show that the offense is still no good, and now I'm a hater. You got to open your mind up and look at what I'm looking at. Peel back the layer. Peel back another layer. Zoom in. That's the part I'm talking about. Unbelievable. Like, it doesn't matter what I do. There's always something for it. Is it not who's going to tell me it's not a fair take? Who's going to tell me it's unfair for me to break out the offensive drives where we didn't have a short field because of the defense and say they were bad? Who's going to tell me that's not fair? I'm going to ask a very simple football question. Is it easier to score points when your drive starts on the 11-yard line going into the end zone or on the 25-yard line with 75 yards to go? Which is it easier to score on? What do you think you should get more credit for? A 75-yard beautiful drive with a bunch of gorgeous plays strung down the field? Or your defense does all the work and then you make one play and you're in the end zone? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The drives where they had to do it all on their own, they didn't. It's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. Nobody's saying we didn't do enough overall to win the game. We kicked the shit out of them. I love that. But that doesn't mean every part of the team was good. So I'm just trying to point out some stuff that's a concern. If anybody wants to tell me the offense is good, go ahead and do it. And I'll tell you that it's not. Oh my God. $5 holler. Hopefully they made the adjustments that they need to. Can't wait for the rest of this season. We're going to find out. Can we agree? I know Notre Dame fans never agree on anything. Can we agree on this? Notre Dame needs to go 4-0 or this season's a failure. Like, is that controversial? I don't know if it is or not. Like, if Notre Dame doesn't go undefeated the rest of the way, this season's a failure. Nobody's here for 9-3. You got to have double digits for sure. And I don't mean in the postseason. No. You think, Pat, you think 9-3 would be great? You had a midget for quarterback that was recording the Wizard of Oz lollipop scene last year who couldn't throw the ball past the line, and you lost 4 games, and then now we're going to lose 1 less, and I'm supposed to be happy? Come on, man. Can't I want more than that? You brought Sam Hartman in here, supposed to be this huge upgrade over Pine, and then I'm going to be happy with 9-3? And I'll remind you all, in the paper, I had 10-2 as my prediction. I'm not saying that's what I was willing to accept or be happy with. I had 10-2 as my prediction because it's what I thought it would be. I'm not saying that would make me happy or that it's good enough. I can't read that, Pat, but I get what you're saying, but I can't read it. 347, what's going on?
John, what's up, bud? How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. I'm trying to get people wound up for this Pitt game. There's no juice.
Listen, you got me going. We got cut off the other day. I lost service. My service stinks. I hope that doesn't happen now. But I was listening to you rant for the last 5 minutes, and the way you're talking, that was my theme the other day in the chat. That was my theme the other day on the phone. When is it appropriate to ask for more? I think now. We got a huge upgrade in quarterback. 9-3 is not acceptable. I think the road in front of us for the remainder of the season is there for the taking, my friend. None of these teams are elite. We should run right through the next 4 and hopefully get Bama or LSU in the bowl game. That's my stance.
Yeah, that would be, oh, man, it was just, and I understand that the schedule is really tough. I understand the schedule is very tough, and I'm not trying to disregard that. I'm just saying, for as much improvement as you hoped for, getting Hartman over Pine, 1 game difference doesn't feel like you maximize that difference enough to me. And that's why 9-3 would bother me. It just, that doesn't feel like you got enough out of that transition.
9-3 certainly feels more than as 9-3 is unacceptable. North of that is definitely attainable. It's not unrealistic. We're not thinking too far because the talent's there. I mean, they again, we're 3/4 of the way to being elite, probably, right? That's where we left off the other day. I think with what we have is more than enough to navigate the next 4 games. And, you know, to get that monkey off our back January 1st, I think that would mean so much to people like us and to the program itself. And it could ascend us forward with recruiting. And there's still so much stuff to play for. And I just think it's critical that we don't take our foot off the gas here. I think you've been nailing it the past 5 minutes. I had to call you. You were just nailing it. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for that. And I try and be fair with Notre Dame. And I can never please anybody, though. Like, when I'm too nice about it, then I get called a Freeman homer, and I'll never criticize Freeman. And then I point out that I don't care how many points the offense score. How did they do it? And then I'm a bad guy. So I can't win either way. And that's just kind of, that's fine. Whatever. Here's the other thing. You said Notre Dame can, go 4-0 on the back end here and trend up ending the year and all that. They can for sure. Will they is a different question. They can beat Louisville when they play them, but they didn't. So, can isn't the issue for the back 4 games. They can win them all. Are they going to play good enough to do it is a different question. Where's that consistency level? The final end of the year. Are you going to run out of gas, or are you going to pick up steam?
Well, this is gonna say a lot about our head coach. We're gonna learn a lot the next 4 games because this was truly a tale of 2 seasons with the first 4 games and then the next 4 games. And I feel, my perspective, after this break, I think there's enough in your leadership here, i.e. Hartman, i.e. that offensive line, that stacked running back room, the defense. I think that the rest was definitely something they needed. And I think that they put it together. I predict this next 4 games, they look like they did in the first 4. I really do. I think they're going to go right through these teams. Clemson will be a grinder, no doubt. But I don't, Pitt's 2-5, we're 6-2. We've got way more talent than they do. We're at home. We have to start putting some stock in our head coach, man. Like, he's good. Like, Freeman's good. He brings a good energy. The players vibe with him.
Yep.
I see no reason why we can't handle Pitt. Pitt, and I hate going back to this, but I can't help myself. Pitt is an example of Brian Kelly, right? Having a grappling match with Pitt in the 4th quarter. We're done with that, right? Like, let's buy into what we've got. Let's buy into Freeman.
They're not good at football.
They're not good.
They're not good at football. You got them at your place. Like, you need to. You just need to come out with it all put together. I think the fans are expecting a more streamlined operation here with a couple tweaks and a new energy and a pep in our step. And I just hope we see that. They need to go 4-0, and it sets up really nice, actually. Come out of the bye, get back loosened up against Pitt. Then you have Clemson. Then after that physical game, you're going to have another break, and then you play 2 dog-ass teams on the back end. This 4-game stretch isn't built like the one you had before the bye. This one's completely navigatable.
100%. And it'll say a lot more about our offense and Parker, because unlike the first 4 games of the season where we thought we had, we thought the offense was, I mean, I couldn't even express into words what I thought it was. 40 points a game, 4 in a row. Like, I mean, I don't know that we ever did that.
Yeah.
Now I don't suspect that we'll do that the next 4 games, but if we can get into like that 35 range, and handle business, I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah. It's just got to be 4-0. Like I don't even know what it needs to look like. I'm going to complain if it looks rough. Whatever. It's got to be 4-0 for people to feel good about this. I'm sorry. I realize the schedule is so tough. That's why it's so brutal that you wasted the Louisville game. Like, that was the loss you wasted there. Like, and you beat USC, so you gain one back in that way. But that's why that Louisville thing's so brutal. Even if we take out all the Ohio State pain and what that could have been, with that one loss, you were still in the playoff hunt technically. Could be a tough year to get in. Notre Dame with one loss anyways, whatever. The Louisville thing killed you. It just did. And that's where you're at. And it killed you. Next year, the irony is it won't kill you. Notre Dame can maybe make it at 10-2. So it'll change next year, but we ain't there.
No, we're not. And I think the Louisville game was more of a sign. It wasn't so much about our talent gap or lack of coaching or being necessarily deficient somewhere. I think it was more of a testament of how fatigued the team was.
The grinder.
And the schedule. Yeah.
It
was brutal in that, like, I don't really think that Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, and I wouldn't label that a gauntlet, but I would label it a gauntlet after playing 4 games prior to that. That's 8 games in a row.
Right. It's the
college kids, no break.
It's the cumulative mental and emotional and physical grind of all of that built into that tight window. Is that what you're trying to say? That's what I think.
Yeah. Yes. You can't listen. Louisville lost to Pittsburgh, so you can't put a number on it. It's not about, Louisville not being a top 5 team. It's about the fact that it's 8 games in a row, and the second half of that slate was against far more competitive teams than the first slate. And so they needed a breather. And I think we're going to learn a lot about Freeman and a lot about this team come Saturday. I'm expecting very positive things. I'm expecting the Notre Dame of the first 4 weeks to show up. We have more talent. They could stack the box all they want. We're bigger, we're faster, we're stronger. Those receivers, our receivers, I should say, are now healthy. They want to stack the box. I want to see Hartman gun it downfield and take their top off. And I think it's going to happen because we saw it in the first 4 games. I don't think Pittsburgh is far better than NC State, and I think Pat was the one that made that comparison.
Dude, NC State, the longer the year goes on, the more and more they look. Just the more I see of them, the more I don't like. It's just kind of rough. And I'm with you, man, on that 4-game stretch. Here's what I struggle with. Yeah, I know, Roger, you messed up, Pat. You're right. Roger messed us up changing that logo. We're all used to the old one you had, man. Here's what I wanted to bring up is reasons versus excuses. Like, there are football practical reasons that Notre Dame struggled to make it through that brutal 4-game stretch before the bye. However, I can't let those reasons slide over to become excuses that make it okay to lose. Like, they're reasons, but I don't want to lean as an excuse. You wish you could overcome that. That's where I struggle. Reasons versus excuses, and where that line gets blurred is where I struggle.
I struggle with it too. And I struggle with it because whether or not it's reasons or excuses, I don't want to sound, overly critical, but it's just not good enough. You know what I mean? It's just not good enough. I'm tired of, 10-3. I don't want to be repetitive from my phone call the other day, but I want more. And I don't know when it's going to be appropriate to ask for more. Is it inappropriate? Am I asking for too much? Am I do I come off as a troll? I don't want to. I just want to win. I want them to be 12-0, and I want to win a playoff game. I want to go to a natty. Is that too much to ask? This is Notre Dame. This is Notre Dame. This is a tier 1 program. We haven't produced a tier 1 team, but this is a tier 1 program, and I want to be a tier 1 team. I want to win.
Yep.
That's it.
Nope. No,
My needs are small.
Hey, man. I mean, it's
30
like,
years, we can't get one?
Yeah, dude, I always, you know what? It kills me, man. I keep hearing people say, John, you got to be patient. You got to be patient. You got to be patient. I'm like, dude, we're going on 30 years already of patience. How much more do you need me to have? I'm going to be dead soon. How much more patience do I got to have here?
Listen, this is the exact reason why I listen to you. This is why I'm
what? For me to freak out? For me to freak out on the air?
Listen, it's therapeutic. I know I'm not crazy when I listen to you speak.
Yeah, or maybe we both
together.
are. Or maybe we both
crazy.
are. Yeah. I think we're both crazy. Yeah. So
we probably are.
I get it, man. I get exactly where you're coming from. I'm really hopeful that the guys come out with a renewed energy and a new mission that they could focus on 4-0 to end the year, play efficient, effective, crisp, hard, good football in front of your home fans. You know, do the whole Halloween thing and people dress up like it'll have the whole fall, late fall, but just play good football at home in front of your crowd and get this one going. Anything on the way out, my friend? Thanks for giving me a call. I'm glad what I was saying made sense to you. I appreciate that.
Oh, 100% makes sense to me. I'm going to leave on this. I'll be listening Friday to both shows, of course, as I always do. I'm going 42-17 Notre Dame.
Ooh,
positive vibes only going forward. I think we slingshot back. I think we're gonna see a lot of growth with this offense this week. I believe in Freeman. The team's good enough. The schedule remaining, we could definitely handle it. I believe we will. 42-17 Notre Dame. Go Irish.
There you go. I love it, man. Have a good weekend, or hit me up later in the week if you want. Thank you very much. Man,
you got it, John.
Man, that guy loves Notre Dame. The Louisville loss was 100% a team loss. Yes. Yep. And then Joe says OSU lost was 2. To me, Louisville was 100% more of a overall team loss than Ohio State was, just because I feel like the team at least played good enough to be in the moment with Ohio State to have a chance to win it, and you can't say that about Louisville. So I disagree with that to the extent that most parts of the team played well enough to beat Ohio State in that moment, and you had some coaching mistakes that are undeniable that held you back, and then some physical plays. You needed to make one more to win it. But the one with Louisville, no. Team loss. Completely. Nobody was ready to play. You could see it the first drive. Nobody on Notre Dame's sideline was engaged in the way you had to be to meet that moment physically, mentally, or emotionally. Nobody on Notre Dame's sideline was ready to meet that moment that day. Coaches or players, you played like that, and it was bad. Pat says he hasn't lost to a Marshall or Stanford yet. Louisville was ranked. I get it. They just look sleepy, man. And maybe I'm focusing too much on the offense when I say that they weren't ready. And I get it. The defense held in there. And then they got worn down late because the offense didn't do anything. So, I mean, I guess you could say that that defense tried to keep you in it. But they still look slow to me. The Notre Dame defense looked really slow. And there were some bad angles and bad tackling. Maybe that's tired. You get lazy when you get tired in a football season. Maybe that's what it was. But the Louisville one was way more of a team loss than I'll say Ohio State was. 385, make it come alive. What's going on?
Hey, John, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. What's going on? We're coming out of this bye. Nobody's talking about Pitt. Nobody cares.
Oh, I care, man, because, in the Kelly era, you've seen Pitt kind of, like what people say, we play down to the talent we're playing against.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they can be a sleeper, you know what I mean? I just want to touch on a few points.
Okay.
Your guy's right, man. Like, you and that guy, you're right. We got to go 4-0. There's no excuses. And for the rest of the season, I heard everybody's complaints, and I'm like, man, you guys that are out there in the East Coast and the Midwest, you're so spoiled because I'm right here in Salt Lake, blah, blah, blah. But then as I listened, I'm like, man, these guys are actually right. They're right. And you know what made me change my mind on that was I watched the documentary again, The House That Rocked Me built. You know, the one that Jerome Bettis is narrating.
Yeah.
And it made me think like, yeah, where have we gone so far from making sure that our program was in it year in, year out? We set the tone for college football. We really did. That's where football was born. You know, and why should we settle for any less? So I stand corrected from you and some of the fans. It doesn't take away that regardless for anything. You know, I'm always going to root for Freeman. I think he definitely is the best pick for the future going forward. But I think I agree with you. I think we've waited long enough, and it's time to get. Not get into a national title when we're blown out. If we happen to lose, God, we lose. God, hope not. But
yeah,
it's time to return. It's time to return to glory. It really is. I agree with you guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if Notre Dame does it, it's going to line up with the new playoff era, and I think that's an interesting angle to this too. You have a young up-and-coming coach. You have the new playoff rules and formatting and all that. So if we're going to do this modern age rise, it's going to be in the modern era of the playoff, and you could see shades of it. It's just not a finished product yet. It's like when they repainted it, when they re-gilded the dome. The project isn't done yet.
Oh, exactly. I agree with you. You know, one thing I'll say, I understand we keep touching on Louisville. We start touching on Louisville, but those weeks are gone. They're gone. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think your last caller said it. Your last caller said it best. Martin, where I think that gauntlet of the first 4 games, the emotion, and then man, you just had to face. You know, these were we're the championship rounds now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we don't finish 4-0 and get to that New Year's 6, I don't know if I'd be disappointed because I love watching the Irish. You know, I think it would be a heartbreaker for the boys not to get to New Year's 6 and win. One thing that I do want to tell you guys that I do at times listen and disagree. Like, I do love Sam Hartman, but I'm a guy, like I told you, I came from a Rush class. You know, I'm big on loyalty. You know, I got a big Mexican family. You know, so we're big on loyalty. So, but here's the thing: I think Drew Pine had the fire that he always wanted to be at Notre Dame. You know, that's why I like the guy. That's why I loved watching that dude. I never thought Buckner was a dude. I seen what Pine came in and did against Wisconsin, what he did last year. And you know, I just think with Sam Hartman, you're at Notre Dame to up your stocks getting into the NFL. But I mean, I don't see that happening. I don't see any difference, John. I really don't. I mean, I've seen a lot more fight from Drew Pine last year than I do from Sam Hartman. You know, and maybe because he was a shrimp. I mean, people could think I'm crazy, but I mean that's my opinion.
No, there are other people that are with you on that. Even Mike Goolsby, who I partner with on the Patreon show, he's bringing up.
Oh yeah, I need to get the thing. I want to watch those shows, man. I downloaded Patreon just for you guys.
He's been bringing up stats comparing that Drew Pine and Hartman are not that far off as the further we go along, and it's really upsetting. That is not what anybody wanted, but he keeps bringing them up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I would have took Drew Pine all day because he had the fight. That's the school he wanted to be at. You know what I mean? You know, so I don't know. I think I hope Parker makes the decisions that he needs to and the adjustments that we need to really finish strong.
Listen, man, do you expect Notre Dame to come out ready to go against Pitt, or do you think it's going to be a sleepy return out of the bye and we're half-assed sleepwalking and shit, and then they wake up later? What are we going to get, man? I don't want to see that. I waited a half a month for this shit. I don't want to see them sleepwalking. Come on.
You know what, bro? I'm going to give you my honest answer, man. I'm fearful that might happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm fearful that might happen.
I know. I know.
But I'm hoping it doesn't. I watch these guys' interviews. I watch them all. You know, I hear them when I'm driving. And I'm hoping it doesn't. But I really am hopeful that these guys come in knowing what's at stake. The next 4, you know, the Death Valley game is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Stanford, Brian Shaw. Is Brian Shaw still at Stanford?
Nope.
Is Brian Shaw still at Stanford?
Nope. He is out.
Oh, he's not.
He is out.
That explains a lot.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm hopeful, John. I'm excited for the next few games. I'm really looking forward to that Death Valley game. But for me, I'm done. Like Louisville, Ohio State, they're gone. They're done. Like people, I wear my Notre Dame hat at the gym, and people are like, hey, how about that? And I'm like, yeah, bro, it's done. It's gone. Can't change the past. We're moving forward. We got a great coach.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful for that. But you know what, buddy? Tell Mike Schoolsby I said thank you for agreeing with me, man. Got a lot of love and respect for that dude. And honestly, I don't know what else to say, John. I'm not going to take up too much of your time.
Hey,
today,
man, listen, I appreciate you. I really like you touching base every week and let me know where you're at, man. We got to come out of the bye, get this win, trend up into Clemson, and then that'll be another big week. But call me back later in the week if you have more pregame thoughts, okay?
Yeah, buddy. All right, man. You know what I mean? Go Irish and let's see what happens this Saturday, buddy.
There you go. Have a good one, man. I like that dude. He's unique. That dude is unique. He says some things nobody else is going to say. He has a unique background, a unique personality, and me not being normal, I kind of gravitate to that. Kent is in the house. Facts, Pat. Horrible takes usually involve emotion and bias. I want to kind of agree with that, but my entire YouTube channel is based on emotion and bias. Like, I want to agree with this in philosophy, but when I take 1 minute to look in the mirror, I realize this entire channel is based on emotions and bias, either for Notre Dame or against everyone else. That's just funny to me. It's funny. It's just funny. Yeah, you don't have the horrible takes. I know, but if the recipe for horrible takes is emotion and bias, I got all the ingredients to make one hell of a big cake out of it. Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. 724. What's going on?
Hey, John. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. I'm excited to get back into games again. I'm a little curious of what we're going to see and what we can expect against Pitt. I don't know. And weird week. It's a weird week. You got all this national news with other teams everybody's worried about. The Pitt games get no attention, and that kind of has me a little nervous. I don't know.
Well, I called in last week. I'm from just outside of Pittsburgh. I had my kid with me. You heard him screaming in the background.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. The fighting Wansteads. Yeah.
I'm at work right now, so I'm going to give you a couple quick talking points, and I'm going to hang up and listen.
Perfect.
So I think Parker's going to be back next year. You're getting a new president and a new AD. If you don't have to replace him, they're not going to work that into the schedule. All right? Secondly, regarding Hartman, if you look at his time at Wake Forest, it was an RPO-based offense, trying to come to this pro style and so he can up his draft stock, and I feel like he's scared to make mistakes. And thirdly, I want your opinion. If we make a New Year's 6, would it be bigger for the program to beat Brian Kelly and LSU or Nick Saban in Alabama? Have a good day, brother. I'll be listening.
Have a good one, man. What a great call. Thank you. I love people that call from work, by the way. I love people that call from work. That one guy called in New York, and he's like, we're in this big investors boardroom meeting. It's about to start, and everybody's got their notes out and what they're going to ask these investors, and I snuck in the other room to call you, talk about Notre Dame. It's just, I love it. All right, here's my answer to that. Here's my answer. There's zero doubt to me nationally, it would be a way bigger feather in Notre Dame's cap to beat Alabama. And the reason why is Alabama and that program and their coach have way more big picture credibility and skins on the wall than Brian Kelly has at LSU. So if you ended up in a dynamic where all Notre Dame, LSU, Alabama are not in the playoff, and then there's a New Year's 6 matchup, I think it'd clearly be a bigger deal nationally to beat Alabama because they have more credibility and overall recently. And Nick Saban has more big football overall credibility than Kelly has. On the flip side, personally, it would mean a lot more to me to beat LSU because I have a personal vendetta against Brian Kelly. And I admit that. Personally, I'd get more joy out of beating Brian Kelly. However, bigger picture, it would send a different signal to beat Alabama. Even if they have a couple losses, it's Nick Saban, Alabama. And we beat LSU recently. Like, not with Kelly there, but we beat LSU recently. Not Kelly. I get that. Not Kelly. And so that's how I look at that. But holy shit. Can you imagine the buildup of a Notre Dame Brian Kelly New Year's 6 game? Like, if it was a playoff game, that's a different level. That's cranked to a whole different galaxy if it's a playoff game. But if it's a New Year's 6 game and there's nothing like big picture on the line, and it's literally just a slugfest between Notre Dame and LSU fans and everybody going about Kelly, wow. But bigger picture, I want that Alabama win. But a battle with Kelly would be so freaking personal. So personal on every level. And the run that I would get off that personally, selfishly on this channel, I can't even, it would be the best thing for me because I would be able to crank up all my stuff with the Kelly stuff and make shorts that are funny and make fun of him and winning is hard and him dancing. I mean, it never ends, but it'd be a bigger deal to beat Alabama. It'd be, does Daniels play? If he's not in the playoff, I don't know. I don't know how any of that works. Who's going to play? Who's not going to play? I don't know. Wait, what did Pat, you brought up the stat Goolsby brought up to me the other day. Where is it? This is the stat Goolsby brought up to me on the Patreon. Let's talk stats. Pine passing percentage in 22, 64.6. Hartman, 64.5 with 4 games to go. That's the exact stat Goolsby brought up. And he goes, John, I thought this dude was better than that. Didn't you want more than that? You always make fun of Pine for being a midget. He's got the same percentage as this guy. All of that. So I don't know. It's wild. That's wild. All right, folks. That's going to be it for the day. I got to go get a haircut, whatever air's left. I got a couple of errands to run, videos to record, articles to write. Weird week, man. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm saying that. I just feel weird. And I don't know if it's all the other stuff in the ether floating around with Michigan and USC and all that drama and all this. Or if it's just that there is not one person in America excited about the Notre Dame Pitt game. It's just a matchup that doesn't do anything to you. It doesn't register anything extra. I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling a little off, and it's making me a little uncomfortable. But I think Notre Dame is going to get it together and then win this game and trend up into Clemson. And then that'll be the last game that has some juice until the bowl game. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The callers, chatters, donators, all of it. The ND Subway alumni people are a sponsor from now on. Make sure you go check that out, ndsubwayalum.com. All right, everybody, that's going to be it. Enjoy your day. Try and be nice to each other, except for Michigan people.